Godzilla Minus One was not only received with great acclaim in Japan, but also caused a great response in the United States. On Rotten Tomatoes, the world's largest movie review site, the film was given an unusually high score of 98 points by critics and also 98 points by general audiences. Normally, this is a high score that can only be achieved when the number of viewers is small. But Godzilla Minus One has over 2,500 ratings, and this high score is quite reliable. What is attracting attention is the fact that it was able to create a moving story and excellent Godzilla-related visual effects on a surprisingly low budget. Furthermore, it became the first film in Japanese film history to win the Best Visual Effects at the 19th Academy Awards. The production cost for Godzilla Minus One is said to be approximately $15 million, or 2.2 billion yen. Although this production cost is considered a blockbuster in Japan, it is only about 10% of the cost of Hollywood blockbuster. In the United States, some are even saying that Hollywood, which has had a series of blockbuster failures, should follow this example. So, how was it that they were able to create such a great work on an incredibly low budget compared to American blockbusters? In this video, I want to find out the secret. I would like to mention the Japanese word shokunin as a keyword deeply related to this secret. Shokunin is a word similar to the English words craftsman and artisan. However, this Japanese word has a deep meaning that cannot be expressed in English. For example, there is the word shokunin katagi, which is translated as craftsman spirit, but in Japanese it is quite a compliment for craftsmen. In other words, although they may seem eccentric and stubborn at first glance, they are honest and take pride in their work as if they like the work. They will do it regardless of profit or loss. He does not allow easy compromises and strives to achieve perfection by sticking to his commitment until he is satisfied with the work. However, when this word is generally used to describe a person's characteristics, it often describes a stubborn and particular personality. In any case, the Japanese people's attitude towards work has more or less this shokunin katagi. It is precisely because of this kind of temperament that Japanese products are trusted worldwide. In Japan, there are many small factories that are supported by the skills of these craftsmen, and among them there are many small factories that have the world's best technology that can only be made in those factories in the world. I think it was the Japanese shokunin katagi that supported the wonderful VFX of Godzilla Minus One. This movie was made with a much smaller budget compared to Hollywood. The VFX for this work was created at a studio of Shirogumi Inc., a production company with 213 employees. Furthermore, only 35 staff members worked on Godzilla Minus One, and the production period was approximately 8 months. The company's website states, "The slogan of Shokunin-gumi is to pursue authentic images that are a mixture of cutting-edge and traditional techniques, and in which the spirit of handcraft is alive. And the company aims to work with a true sense of Shokunin katagi. Shirogumi's studio resembles the worksite of a small factory. It's a really simple and small office compared to American production companies. The production staff are on the same floor and work face to face together, while at the same time, Takashi Yamazaki, who was in charge of the director, script, and VFX, checks the finished parts while talking with the staff." However, the VFX of Godzilla Minus One, produced by the Shirogumi team, is not only on par with Hollywood blockbusters, but also has a quality and realism that surpasses Hollywood. On the other hand, Hollywood uses huge budgets to produce one movie after another that uses a lot of VFX, but much of the work involved is highly divided. There is a tendency for each task to have its own specialist and not to do any other work than their own. This is in contrast to the attitude of a shokunin who strives to complete every step of his work with pride. People often lack pride in work that is too divided. In a small office like Shirogumi, problems can be easily solved because the limited number of staff members can easily and thoroughly discuss matters whenever necessary. People who are filled with the shokunin spirit, pride, passion, work together in the same office to create a single work. However, in Hollywood, workers are scattered all over the world, so it takes time and effort to check each finished part and hold meetings. As multinational people scattered around the world work while communicating primarily in English, precise communication is difficult. Since the work is divided into parts and distributed to many people, labor costs are also huge. And people who only take on subdivided parts of the work are unlikely to have the passion to pool their wisdom and cooperate to create a good work. Their attitude is that all they have to do is fulfill their own role, and that's all the work they do. It is rare that groundbreaking ideas emerge through passionate direct discussions. It is far from an atmosphere where each shokunin works together to create a good work. I guess that Shirogumi had that kind of atmosphere. What would happen if staff members with a sense of shokunin katagi, pride and passion worked in a small office while exchanging opinions directly, not only with their colleagues, but also with the film director? All of the staff members are passionate about making Godzilla Minus One as good as possible, and each and every one of them will work together to innovate and collaborate with each other. On the other hand, in Hollywood, the work is extremely segmented, and only the result of each work are evaluated. So, there is less of an awareness of taking into consideration the whole movie work and trying to make it as good as possible. The Shirogumi's method is similar to Japanese management, which was once praised as a method that emphasized not only top-down, but also bottom-up. The ideas of people working at the workplace are more likely to be put to use, and this creates pride and passion for their work. In short, the characteristics of Shirogumi are as follows. Rather than working remotely or having teams distributed around the world, staff work in one workplace and interact face-to-face, collaborate in a simple, compact, but easy to communicate office rather than a huge office, responding flexibly to various tasks without implementing an overly segmented division of labor. If the budget is small, everyone can pool their knowledge and create a wonderful work. Of course, in addition to this, various other efforts were made to create this wonderful work on a low budget. For example, the following ideas were used to create the set. Many warships appear in this movie, but it was impossible to create sets for all of them. They had only one gun ready, so they extended and changed it using digital technology. All the ships that appear in this movie are visualized using a single gun set enhanced with VFX. In addition to this, various other efforts were made to create the product on a low budget, and the spirit of Japanese shokunin was truly alive in these efforts. For more information, please watch the video linked below.